Hey, how you doing? It is I, the Terrorific Lady, otherwise known as Brandy, and welcome to Retro Horror School. And happy Friday to you. I hope you have some very fun weekend plans. Me, I am going to be streaming this Saturday on Twitch, and I will most likely be doing some cleaning. It's been a little bit long overdue for me. But enough of that, on to today's video. Today's video is another movie review. And if you have not guessed by the name of the person on my shirt, this is who directed the movie that I am going to review. It is 1976's Assault on Precinct 13.
Assault on Precinct 13.
This is the siege. It's a goddamn siege. You're going to stay here and hold until somebody comes, okay? We're in the middle of a city, inside a police station.
What does that mean?
They're not afraid to die. Any of them. They want to rip us apart, no matter what it costs. It means to the death.
Precinct 13. Cut off. Isolated in the middle of a city, as a human wave of street killers turns the night into a nightmare.
We got a war going on down here. We can't find the damn thing.
A white-hot night of hate. Assault on Precinct 13.
Now, you may be wondering, why are you reviewing this? I mean, this is a movie that came out in the 70s, but it's not a horror movie. I see this as kind of a proto-action film because the term action film wasn't really used or popularized until, I mean, it was used, but it wasn't like 100% popularized until the 1980s and the rise in the era of the action film. But I consider it, in a way, a bit of a horror film, or at the very least, horror adjacent, because this film was in part based on a Western, Rio Bravo, but it was also based on George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. And as I'll talk about in a little bit, you will see what parts of the movie were directly inspired by George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. So I'm going to call something at least horror adjacent if you're going to use George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead as one of your inspirations. Now, let's get started with the review. Here we go. The Precinct 13 takes place at a soon-to-be defunct police station in an area of LA called Anderson. Austin Stoker plays Lieutenant Ethan Bishop, who has taken over control of this station. There's a series of events that happen that otherwise disturb what should be a pretty peaceful night. You have a dude who is bringing prisoners to this station that he is transporting to death row because one of them is sick and that he needs to call a doctor for him. You have a father whose daughter was killed by one of the prominent gangs there, and he chases them down and shoots one of them, and then he ends up just like at this police station, and the gang converges on this police station. And so everybody, cops, the death row criminals that ended up there, and even just, workers who aren't even cops at all, they're not even in law enforcement. You have this whole cast of characters that has to hold the station against this gang who is trying to kill the father and basically kill everybody inside too. Now, that is Assault on Precinct 13, just a very, very simple linear plot. You have several things that converge to get everybody to the central setting, but pretty basic linear plot. A group of people holding a station against a bunch of gang members. What works about this movie? You have a very signature Carpenter theme that you see across a lot of his movies, and a theme that I particularly really like It is the theme of isolation. You have people isolated in this small defunct police station that is in the big city of Los Angeles, much like the scientists who were isolated in that church in the big city of Los Angeles in his movie Prince of Darkness. I love the theme of isolation, no matter whether it's in a big city or whether it's on the continent of Antarctica. I love me a good theme of isolation in any John Carpenter movie, and I liked it in this one. The pacing of this movie also worked for me. Yes, it is a slow burn, but it doesn't, I wasn't like checking my phone or checking my watch every 10 seconds. It doesn't feel like it's an hour and 30 minutes because the story isn't very convoluted. As I mentioned earlier, it's a simple, straightforward plot, which you kind of need in action movies. You can't have a plot that is overly complicated. And also, I think what helped is that you saw timestamps at certain points along the way. And with these timestamps, it almost felt like a documentary in a sense, or at least a mark to let people know, okay, it is this time, it is this time, it is this time. So we got to chronologically, in a sense, see the events unfold in real time. I thought that worked really well. Also, what I thought worked is that it showed two sides of the coin of humanity and just how complicated humanity can be. You saw the depravity of humanity, and you also saw humanity in a place where you might not expect to find it. The gang showed the absolute worst depravity of humanity because they did not care. They didn't care to die themselves, and they didn't care who they killed. I mean, they shot a kid who came up to the ice cream truck who was just asking, hey, like, I want a vanilla swirl. And boom, that part really shocked me because like, what? Wow. I was not expecting it. I wasn't expecting that level of depravity and the lack of humanity.
Hey, this is regular vanilla. I wanted vanilla twist.
You have the criminals who are showing more humanity than even the gang is. I mean, they're not robotic. They're helping to hold the station. They want to survive. I mean, any human would want to survive this kind of situation. It would be terrifying to be like, to constantly have just people coming after you, who didn't care like whether they lived or died. And this is where the connection inspiration of George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead comes in. John Carpenter purposely wanted the gang to be almost like the ghouls and the zombies in Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Notice that the gang members did not have names. They did not talk. And there were a lot of them, hordes of them coming at the people in this defunct police station. He wanted to portray them as ghouls or zombies with no humanity whatsoever. So whenever I learned about that, that made me go, oh, okay, I get it. No wonder these people had a total utter lack of humanity. It was intentional. And then you had, what I also thought worked is that you had humor at certain points to help break up the very serious situation and what was going on. There's this one part where they were going to have this guy go out through the basement, one of the criminals go out through the basement, through the sewer, up above ground, and then to a car to hotwire it so he could go and get help. And he's like, what? Is no one going to wish me luck? And the lieutenant goes, good luck. And then the other one of the women who worked at the police station said, good luck. And the criminal goes, two cops wishing me luck. I'm doomed.
Nobody gonna wish me luck?
Good luck. Look at that. 2 cops wishing me luck. I'm doomed.
So it was certain points like that in the movie that helped break up the seriousness. And whenever humor is applied in a movie that has a very serious nature or a very scary nature, it has to be done well. Otherwise, you're going to be like, oh, well, this is off. To me, the humor didn't feel tonally off. It appeared at just the right moments and it was just enough. What doesn't work about this movie? Well, Assault on Precinct 13 was very close to being a perfect movie for me, much like John Carpenter's The Thing is a 100% perfect movie for me. There's just one thing that kept it from being that. You have the character of Leigh Brackett, who works at the police station, and you also have the character of Napoleon, who is one of the criminals who is on death row. And you would always see this inkling of like a romance blossoming between them, because almost just like very kind of longing looks at certain points, like towards each other. Like, I was surprised that there was like no like animals or Disney princess things going on there. Now, it's nothing against the two as characters, but I liked them as characters. I liked every character in this movie. The idea of the inklings or the blossoming of a romance was really, really strange. I don't know, that kind of threw me off a little bit. But other than that, I thought it was a near perfect film. And my final verdict for this film is I would watch it again. I am thinking of getting it and owning it for myself to put on my shelf. Yes, I'm a poet. And I knew it. And you may also like this movie if you like John Carpenter films. Pretty much a given. If you like actiony or horror type films, you will like this one. Also, if you like films that have horror influences and the theme of isolation. Assault on Precinct 13, what did you think about it if you've seen it? Let me know in the comments below. And sadly, class is dismissed, everybody, for now. But I will see you next time. Bye!